Hi, thank you so much for supporting Juicy Scoop on YouTube. It's really important that you hit that like and subscribe button so you do not miss a future episode of Juicy Scoop. Today's episode, I know you're going to love. It's the perfect Juicy Scoop episode. I talked to actress Riki Lindhome. We get into falling in love on a movie set and how often it happens and why. We talk about super juicy secrets on SNL, Saturday Night Live, and the writer's room, and also her crazy fertility journey and getting a surrogate in Hollywood and how that works. So juicy. Enjoy.
Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data, and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have a new guest, but she may be very familiar to you. Oh my God, this is Riki Lindhome.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I love that you are a Juicy Scooper, but
Yes,
it's not
I am.
about me.
I am a Juicy Scooper. This is where I get all of my celebrity news. Truly, I don't. It's not even like in my algorithm. I just listen to Juicy Scoop. I hear everything I need to know.
I love it because I was introduced to you. Well, I knew who you were, but Natasha Leggero, who's been my friend for many years and has been on Juicy Scoop, she was like, my friend was really like, wants to be on your show. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is Garfunkel and Oats.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember hearing about how funny you and your partner, Katie,
Yeah.
were. And you've had a very interesting, funny career.
Thank you. Yeah, it's gone a lot of different directions. It's been multifaceted, but.
Yes, but when I talked to the phone yesterday, you were like really downplaying yourself. And then I
Really?
went on your wiki and you've done so many guest roles, so many things. I mean, I know you from that. And just to tell people a little bit like what a unique, funny thing it was that you did with Garfunkel and Oats and how you thought of the name, obviously. Like,
Yeah,
I
it
can
was-
figure out how you thought of it,
Yes.
but explain how you thought of
Well,
the name.
it was wild. I was writing funny songs on my own for like 10 years, and my
Okay.
partner was also before we met. And
How
then
did you meet?
We met. We used to audition for commercials.
Uh-huh.
And do you remember there was like an era where everyone in the commercials, like all the women had huge eyes? Do you remember that? That was like there was like the Maxim girl era in like the early 2000s.
Okay,
There
yeah.
was that, and then that just went away, and it was all women with enormous eyes. And
Okay.
we would just book every commercial, and that's how I first met her because I would
You
see
were
her.
booking a lot of commercials
and so
too
was she.
because you had big eyes.
It was just all these. No, it was everyone. It was like we were all at the same callbacks. We were all like, this is weird. Just enormous eyes, just in a room. We're like, okay. And then we met doing that, and then just became friends at UCB, and then
And UCB is
Upright Citizens Brigade.
which is like a Groundlings, because
Yes.
I talk a lot about Groundlings
Yes.
on the show, but a little different style, but still sketch, comedy, improv.
But we just met in the lobby. We were
okay.
kind of like at seeing the same show, and we're like, we've seen each other for years at these callbacks, and hi, and then realized we both wrote funny songs, and then started doing it together, and then accidentally.
So you could play the guitar.
Oh, yeah.
You were singing and knew instruments and all that,
Yeah.
and knew like chords and everything.
but just for fun.
As a kid, you grew up doing
Yes.
music. Oh,
Mhm.
that's so impressive.
Yeah, I did flute and piano and guitar and
that's
whatever.
so
But
great.
just for fun, I never thought it could be a career.
Yeah.
And then it really, really was, and we were so surprised.
Okay, and you were telling me on the phone like how you accidentally
Yeah.
went sort of viral.
Well, we'd filmed. I was about to leave to film a movie in South Africa, and my mom wanted to see this song that we wrote, and so we filmed it on like a Sony Handycam, just us singing on my couch, and then it wouldn't connect to email because it was too big. And someone's like, "Oh, there's this file sharing thing like YouTube where you can just upload it and send the YouTube link." And I was like, "Great!" So that's what I did, just to my mom.
And what year was this?
This was 2007,
Okay.
and I should have known it was not just a file sharing service, but I thought it was. And my mom watched it, and then by the time I got back to from South Africa, we had like 10,000 people that had seen it, and I was like, how did they see this?
Right.
And then YouTube was putting us on the front page because there wasn't that many people making stuff. And so we were just kind of first. And then we're like, I guess we should make more. And then it just went from there.
This episode of Juicy Scoop is brought to you by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. From vacation rentals to hotels across the U.S., Booking.com has the ideal summer stay for absolutely anyone, even those who might seem impossible to please. Whether you're booking for yourself, your partner, your picky teens, or your sleep light, rise early mom, you can find exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com. Find out exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com, Booking.yeah. Book today on the site or in the app. And then you did like the comedy festivals and things like that.
We did Montreal, and that's where we like met everyone in the comedy world, and then could start doing actual shows. Because before that, we would like rent out an art gallery and do a show there. We just had no connections in the comedy world, so we would just
And back then there was such like an alternative comedy scene where it was really just like a word of mouth, like, oh, you're gonna do the what's the name of the place that starts with an L that everyone went to?
Largo.
Yes.
Yep.
Largo. Yeah. And all of that. And I remember I was like, I got to get on Largo. I loved going. And then I remember my agent said, well, you already perform at the Improv and they don't want any association with like traditional stand-up.
Really?
And this is kind of before they all started doing stand-up and realized, like what we were saying, like it's kind of easy if you can just do something on your own.
Right.
So it was like they didn't want that, what they saw as like hacky.
Oh.
But anyway, I still liked going to the shows.
Yeah, there was a divide. It was like in the mid 2000s, it was like there was like the alt people and then like the road comics. There was sort of a divide. I don't know how we got an alt. We were on YouTube. Like I don't know how, we're writing pretty traditional comedy songs. I don't know how we ended up in that.
And
crew,
so I love that you did this for so long. And then also you created a show with Natasha called Another Period.
Yes.
Which was on Comedy Central, which was so funny. You were just saying Guy Branum also wrote on that, which is amazing. And it was just so funny. And you said how you how you guys came up with it.
Well, we were drinking wine and we wanted to make a show, and Natasha wanted to do something sort of classy, like Downton Abbey, something about class, and I wanted to do something like a Kardashians parody kind of thing. And she and Natasha was like, well, what if we combine those? And so we did a reality show set in 1902. But in America, like New Money America, like if the Kardashians moved into Downton Abbey was kind of the log line. And then they just let us do everything. It was wild. They let us do whatever we wanted. We had barely any notes, and we got to...
Where could someone watch that now? Do you know?
I think it's on Paramount Plus right now. It keeps sort of bouncing around channels, but I think it's on Paramount Plus.
All right. That's awesome. Okay. And then you are pretty recently married.
Yeah. Three years ago. Our third anniversary was June 1st. So
to Fred Armisen, who's from SNL, but one of my favorite shows, Portlandia, which is another one of those shows that if you've not seen, you could just type in on Instagram or TikTok like Portlandia sketches, and they are so funny.
So funny.
And it is about this couple. Well, they're not a couple because they play like different characters. It's a sketch show about people that would live in Portland. Like how, I need to know, and I know he's not here, but like how did your husband come up with this idea? Because it's kind of making fun of how ridiculously super off the people are in Portland, but in a way that I'm sure those super off Portland people would also love it.
Love it. Yeah, it's all done with love. I don't actually know how they came up with it, but I do know. So Carrie Brownstein, the person, his partner in it, she lives in Portland. So it must have been from that somehow. And Fred genuinely loves Portland. Yeah. So it must have been that. I actually never asked him how they came up with it, but yeah.
I'm just like laughing about like some of the sketches of the character that he would play with like the long gray
the
hair.
Women and Women First bookstore. Yes.
Yes. And then like the person comes in and he's just coming to like fix the air conditioning, just like a normal guy. And they're like, whoa, you are being really aggressive right now. And that's another one that like if you're looking for like a really sharp comedy and you may have missed it when it came out.
That's on Netflix. So
how did you guys meet in this comedy world?
Well, we both had shows on IFC. I had the Garfunkel and Oates show and he had Portlandia. And there weren't that many shows on IFC. So I think we met in sort of doing events for our shows like back in the day.
And was there an attraction back then?
No.
Oh.
No, there just wasn't. Well, he was in a relationship and when someone's taken, you're not like, interested. You're just, you don't think about them.
Right.
And then, then we were friends for like 15 years. And then we both got cast in that show Wednesday. And we were in Romania for months on end. And then that's where we fell in love. Because what do you do in Romania? Like, we just might as well.
So who made the first move? Like, for hanging out as friends? Oh, really?
Yeah, I did.
How did you do it?
I sent him a text.
So you're just friends on set.
Yeah.
And you had a little break that night?
It was, so, everyone, have you ever done something on location, like a movie on location?
Yeah, but a little bit. You know what I did? I did Bachelorette.
Oh, but you had dinner with everyone every night, right?
No, because it was COVID. So I had to be alone in my room for 5 days.
Dang.
And then I didn't want to, and the guys were like, so no, I've never had an opportunity to fall in love with someone else, and I would love it.
It's like going to camp. Yeah. It's like, but you have dinner with your co-stars and crew every night. And
that's why a lot of affairs and stuff do happen.
Because you're with them all the time. And I just started having feelings and didn't really know what to do with them because it's sort of inappropriate, at work. And Fred doesn't drink, so there was no way to have it be like, oops, so it was just all, it was all just so clean cut. And I was like, well, I guess I just have to tell the truth. And
so what did you write?
I just sent him a text being like, I know this is like weird timing. I waited till he was done filming.
Okay.
And once he was done, I was like, okay, now I can, because I didn't want him to be stuck in Romania with me, uncomfortable.
And neither of you was like a producer where you could then be in trouble for getting together. You were at the same level. Okay.
Same level. But I don't know. I was like, I can just wait. And then, and then I was like, I think you should be my boyfriend.
That's what you said in the text?
That was my opening offer, yeah.
And what did how long before he wrote back?
He literally wrote back, he goes, is this for me? He thought it was for someone else. Because we had not been like flirting.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I was just like having feelings. And I was like, well, might as well. It's when you're friends with someone that long, like you can't be like, we should go to dinner. It's like we go to dinner every night. It's like I might as well just say it. And so I just said it. And
were you scared like before you pressed send?
Totally. Completely. It was completely.
Did you consult with 1 to 12 girlfriends about whether you should do this? Okay.
Just one. I called my most like wild friend. I was like, who's my friend who would do this? Like
that
who
would say go for it.
Yes. And so I just asked her because my other friends would have been like, what? No. So I asked just one person. And she was like, I think you just have to say the truth. And I was like, well, if I'm going to tell the truth, I might as well just say it.
So he goes, is this for me? And then what?
I said, yes.
And then what?
And he was like, where is this? Whoa. Okay. Wow. He's like, I'm just kind of shocked. And then he was like, should we like have dinner and talk about it tomorrow night? And I was like, yep. And then from then on, it
okay.
was
So
just,
then when was the first kiss then?
The next night.
At the dinner or at the end?
After, at the end, yeah.
And then who leaned over for the first kiss?
He did. I mean, I'd already done so much. I can't keep.
Yeah. And that is great.
Yeah, I really put it out there. I'm just like, well, what do I have to lose? Like,
it's really funny because my episode just a couple days ago, we talked about Meghan Markle supposedly going for it and finding out who's going to be at this party, and I was like, I think that's
great.
All great. Who cares? And I had a couple of people write me and were like, I really think it's interesting that Heather said that like women, especially nowadays, should go for the guy. And so this one woman wrote me and she's like, I was like at like a karaoke or trivia night or something, and this guy was really cute, and I sent him over a shot. Mm-hmm. And he had noticed me, but he was too scared to approach myself because she was at the table of 12.
Right.
Which no guy wants to go up to a table of 12.
That's terrifying.
Anyway, they got engaged 6 months later. They've been married for 12 years.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like,
my friend had the best dating advice. She was like, if he's like very, very into you, there's like almost nothing you could do to lose him. And if he's not into you, there's almost nothing you can do to keep him.
Oh, that is so
right.
Good.
Like you could like if they're into you in that way, like they don't care who asks who out. They don't care.
Yeah, they're not going to be turned off by like an outfit or a weird hairdo that day.
And if they're not into you, no amount of games, no outfit, like it just,
It is.
Not to put it all in them because you have to be into them too, but it's just like it doesn't matter. I just don't.
That is a really good point. So, okay.
Like, do you think there's anything you could have done to like turn off your husband at the beginning? Like, probably not.
No, I found out years later that he said to his sister, who I like very much, and she goes, oh, and then one day just Peter said, oh, I think I'm going to marry this girl. She's just so fun. And it was just like that kind of like confidence too that a guy would have. Like I didn't even want to say like, oh, I think this is the one, because then back then my friends were all like, don't jinx it.
No,
It was like we would do don't jinx it instead of manifest it.
Right.
And like see it, believe it, achieve it. Like that was not in our vocab. So it was kind of like, oh, better keep this to yourself, you know? And yeah, and then with my sister, when she found her husband, and I was like, we'd dated so many guys like in our 20s, and I'm like, why, how do you know that he is the one? And she just was like, well, it's just so easy. And it was that exact thing. I don't have to worry about like, are we
Playing a
doing something
game.
this weekend?
No.
Is he going to call me?
He
Do
is
I
gonna
have to
call you.
analyze this text? Do I need to, get a form going with girlfriends to, yeah.
Yeah, if you need that, it's probably not. I mean,
Right.
he might still be worth dating, a boyfriend, a situation, but he's not the one.
Right.
The one is like into you.
So then how did you get engaged?
It was like very quickly after that.
Really?
Yeah, it was very quickly after that.
How did he ask you?
He sort of did and sort of didn't. Like I was like, I was kind of, well, because I always said I never wanted to get married, ever, ever, ever. And then I was like starting to change my mind. And I was like, if you ask me, whatever you ask me, I'll probably say yes. That's what I said. And he was like, do you want to get married? And he's like, are we going to get married? And I was like, yeah, I think we are. And he was like, okay, great. That was the whole thing.
I want to get to the juiciest part of your life.
Yes.
But first, I want to just go through some other topics. Since you
Yes.
are a juicy scooper,
Yes.
I want to give you the opportunity to weigh in on some stuff. Since we're talking about dating, supposedly TMZ is reporting that there's a new option on Tinder, which is something I know a lot about, though I've never been on it, obviously, that you now can like search or filtrate your search based on height. And obviously that means more to a woman dating a man than a man like saying, I only want a tiny person or I only want a tall person. And I just think that is, I don't think that's a good idea. As someone who's tall, as someone who would ask people when they were like setting me up, how tall, I think that is dumb.
I think it's so dumb, and I think you're sleeping on some of the best men. I
Yes.
think if you have that as a prerequisite, then you're cutting off. You're short-sighted, for lack of a better term. You're cutting off a huge pool of men. Like I think that's crazy. My husband's shorter than me. I don't care.
Yeah.
And when I was 30, I had a boyfriend who was significantly shorter than me. And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, oh, I don't care at all. This is great.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. It's like silly. And it's weird how on TV that the women are still always shorter than the men. And we just accept that as like normal.
Right.
Where it has to be. I'm like, what is this barrier that we can't seem to break? Like you don't see it anywhere in television or in movies that the woman's taller. And so we're sort of conditioned like from a young age that we have to have a taller partner, and it's just lies.
So I grew up in LA. So we knew people like several times a year. There'd be like, oh my God, we have to get home and turn on this because our neighbor is a guest role or this person's on a show or whatever. And so a good friend of ours, sister, who we were friendly with too, her name was Claire. She got a spin-off of Dallas called The Colbys.
Ooh, nice.
And she was like a model. And so there was this hot scene where she's kissing, someone on the beach. And so then we immediately like called her after and we're like, oh my God, we just saw you. And she's like, yeah, to do that scene, they had to dig a hole in the sand and put me in the hole.
God,
Because
no.
the guy was short and she was a model. So
God, I wish they had filmed that. I'd love to see. That is so funny. I wish she'd had a social media person filming that. But yeah, it's forbidden on television unless it's a joke. I don't understand it.
I remember there was a couple, we were going to go out to dinner with them like when my kids were young. And my friend was like, oh, we're going to all go to this restaurant. And, so the four of us are driving together to meet this other couple. And she's like, she does this and he does this and they have 3 kids and twins and da-da-da. And she goes, but I have to warn you, she is a former model and tall and he is not. And she's like, and he's very small. And I'm just letting you know, it's quite alarming to the eye. I remember her saying that. It's quite alarming.
Like, okay.
It's quite alarming.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but I got why she might have had to say it.
Was it that big of a difference?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both very attractive. Like he was fit
But he was like a tiny twin.
Yeah, and and he loved it. He loved that she was tall. He loved that he got a tall girl. And to my knowledge, still married, whatever. But anyway, no, I agree with that. I think, it's just.
It's the patriarchy. It's subconscious
yeah.
patriarchal conditioning from watching TV and movies that your man has to be taller than you. He doesn't.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think the apps are great. I think because you're, for the most part, meeting people that are single, so there isn't that scaring of approaching. But then when there's too much of a filter thing, you already know what they look like. You already know what they do. You know their religion. You know da-da-da-da-da. And then this too. So I
think
agree.
Men get filtered out for height and women get filtered out for age.
Listen, we all deal with bad hair days, but what if those bad hair days could become a thing of the past? With iRestore Elite, you can say goodbye to thinning hair and hello to fuller, healthier locks. iRestore Elite is clinically proven to help regrow hair using 300 lasers and 200 LEDs that send light therapy directly to your scalp. It's so easy. You can just pop it on while you're watching TV or listening to Juicy Scoop and pair it with Revive Plus Max Growth Kit and Revive Biotin Vitamin Gummies for the ultimate hair care upgrade. Give yourself the gift of hair confidence this year. For a limited time only, our Juicy Scoop listeners are getting a huge discount on the iRestore Elite when you use code Juicy Scoop at iRestore.com. Head over to iRestore.com and use code Juicy Scoop for our show's exclusive discounts on the iRestore Elites. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Hair loss is frustrating. You don't have to fight it alone thanks to iRestore. I know that it's summer, but sometimes it doesn't matter what the weather is. You are hot. You are maybe getting flashes. Maybe you just are a hot sleeper. Maybe your partner is too warm against you. That is why I love my Boll & Branch sheets. With Boll & Branch's best-selling Percale sheets, you'll never sleep hot again. They're made with a special cooling weave in the finest 100% organic cotton. These sheets feel crisp to the touch, breathable to sleep in, and offer cool comfort that lasts all night, even for the sweatiest of sleepers. I have such a great sleep. I barely wear anything to bed because I love the feeling of the sheets on me. It is just comfort like no other and true luxury. Feel the difference an extraordinary night's sleep can make with Boll & Branch. Get 15% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com/juicyscoop. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com/juicyscoop to save 15%. Exclusions apply. See site for details. I was just talking to a friend of ours who is like my age and divorced, and he said he only wants a woman over 43.
Smart.
Because he doesn't want any more kids. Mm-hmm. And even if someone who's 35 would say, oh, no, I don't want them, you don't know that. So it's like there's a benefit, there's a positive too to someone that's like done, or doesn't want kids or can't.
Or already has a kid and it's just part of the package or whatever.
It's not going to be a discussion at all. Well, here's some other breaking news. Erica Jane of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, her ex, Tom Girardi, is sentenced to 7 years in prison after wire fraud conviction. And I mean, he looked absolutely horrible coming out of the, but he is really old.
How old is he? Is he 80 something?
Oh yeah. He's like 86 or something. Yeah. And he, claims to have had Alzheimer's and dementia. The judge, I guess, decided you don't because he's going to regular prison. His team had, pushed for just like, an old home facility or something. But no, he's going to full-blown prison.
Wow. I mean, it was bound to happen.
I mean, he deserves it.
No, I know. He robbed people for so long, right?
Right, yeah.
It's such a sad legacy, like starting with Aaron Brockovich and ending with it's so sad. But yeah, he should go to jail, I guess. I don't know about the Alzheimer's part. I have no.
Yeah, I mean, now it's just kind of, it's kind of done. And, so that's
Is there like
the
a
conclusion
medical
of it.
wing of a jail that he could be treated in, or like what?
They're probably just like an assisted living. They probably have an elderly Alzheimer's unit that would just require a little more care.
Yeah.
And
but he has to go to jail.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
So let's talk about the Valley.
Okay.
You're a fan.
I
You've
love
been watching.
the Valley. I love Vanderpump Rules. It's just such a good, it's such a dark extension of it.
Yes.
Because Vanderpump Rules was always kind of dark, but it was light, like in the fact they were young. There was no stakes.
Yeah.
And now that they have kids, it's like so dark.
They have the kids, and the fact that like they all three couples, Tom Schwartz and Katie, and then Ariana and Tom Sandoval, and then Jackson Brittany, they all just a few years ago bought those
exact same houses.
The houses that were redone in the farmhouse look in the same neighborhood, which was like, sparked the idea of like continuing the show on here, that they're all broken up.
Yeah.
And
it's for the better.
Oh, of course it's for the better.
They were all miserable together.
Yeah.
It's weird when you see a show and you're rooting for everyone to not have love. Like it's usually the opposite. You're like, oh, I want them to get together, but you're like, no, I want them to like live their happiest life, like away from each other completely.
Well, it's, like anybody that stays together, it's like, well, we own a house together, we have kids together, we, whatever, the church, the family. They really did. When Tom Sandoval, which, of course I was on Ariana's side the whole time. But when he has said, our relationship wasn't good, but we stayed together because of this brand. And people are like, what brand? I think he means the show.
Yeah.
The show where we film, we have each other's back. She, they had revealed over the years that like she didn't want kids with him. Then she did. They weren't sleeping together.
Right.
No excuse for cheating with, Rachel Raquel. But
just break up.
It is a hard thing when it's like, you don't just have people like rooting for you to stay together. You have like the world that is, either likes you as a couple or is like relationship goals or all that kind of shit.
They did seem like that. Tom seemed like the nice guy. They seemed like this like sort of perfect couple.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, not because no one's ever like, oh, James and Raquel, perfect couple. Like no one thinks Jackson Brittany perfect couple, but they just seemed like so solid where it was really just sad.
And then like with Jackson Brittany, I just feel like, of course she's finally like coming to, but it's like the world, she knows the world is like, we told you so over and over and over again. And why did you do it? Is because you loved being on the show so much. I think like anybody, again, she did believe she loved him or did at the time. But also all of it too. It's the same reason people don't leave Scientology or the Mormon church. It's like, this is your show. Like had she dumped him after the thing that happened with the girl that was
with Faith.
Yeah. Yeah. After that happened, where he was caught cheating and admitted to it, everything. And she decided to like take him back. Like, what would happen if she had been like, no?
She would have been off the show.
I mean, how would they would not
lose everything?
Yeah, they would not have kept her around. But I'm not saying that's the only reason, but I'm saying it's all of it together. It's and then him coming and convincing her and also just anybody that's been with someone for more than a few years and they're inching towards like fertility and everything, that they're like, well, I don't want to start all over again. Right. And I do love this asshole.
Right.
And and he is hot.
He is charming. He's convincing. But he's become less and less convincing, I think, in the last year.
Oh my God.
I just don't buy it.
And it is funny that Brittany just does laugh about it now. She's just like, he's so ridiculous that she just like talking to his sister and she's like, wait, how does he know that we're filming? There must be bugs in the house because I already covered all the Ring cameras in the house. And then she's just like, it's crazy. And she's like,
see, that is the same attitude that let her like stay with him for so long. Like I would have lost my mind. And she's just very like, well, maybe he's bugging
That's
me.
Jax.
Yeah. I'm like, he found the perfect woman. It is funny that all those sort of canceled people from Vanderpump are now like, no, we're not. It's fine. No one's canceled. They're like just back. It's fine. Like,
so okay, I want to bring up something on the screen. Okay, because I've been like, who does this guy remind me of? And I mean, he is an actor. We have him here. Of Nia and Danny. The trial of Danny seems to have finally come to a conclusion last night.
Good.
That while Jax is in rehab for alcohol and cocaine, he took a shot of tequila and went to sleep
on a day that everyone was at the winery.
Yeah,
it's like everyone's wasted. Like who cares?
Anyway, I was like, who does he remind me of? And then I'm like, oh my God.
Exactly.
It's Nick Lachey.
Wow.
They look alike.
Yeah.
They sound alike.
They've got
They have the
that
same kind of
slow
hair.
that squinty swagger. Like,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, weird. They are so alike.
I mean, honestly, if there's any, I know he's an actor too, Danny. Like, if there's ever something for brothers, they could play.
Right. Or if they do the Newlywed Story as a movie or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
he could get that role.
Anyway, but what else are you thinking? You know, Janet just posted this awful DM she got from a stranger or not, you know, some anonymous person, I'm sure, writing just this really horrific thing to her. And she like posted it, was like, please, this is just a show, you know.
What did it say?
It said like, I know where you live. I know where your kid goes to school or preschool. I don't even know. It was all this kind of weird threat that either the person doesn't know anything.
Right.
And this is just a fun game to like a small group of Bravo fans that want to just see how you'll react.
Right.
Or it could be a frenemy. It
I
could be a frenemy.
have a cynical point of view on this. Like,
yes.
I think that's the sign that she's making it. I think that's the sign that she's like here to stay in reality TV. If you start getting like, everyone always like likes the people who are just sort of benign and they don't get any hate. When people start attacking you on that level, it means like you're interesting.
Well, that's a good lemonade out of it, like for her to hear. I've met her many times. I really like her. I mean, it's a show. We're watching it. Like, I don't know what it's all about, why someone is, you know, but it's like sports, you know? It's like the Housewives are sports to a lot of women and men. And just like people want to like, you know, go to the games and wear their outfits and bet and fight for their person and get in an argument with their neighbor who likes the other team. Like, I just think there's something about like, and then there's this weird part that happens with women where they are so involved in watching this reality show that they really get jealous.
Yeah.
And because of Janet's history, where she was a girl who came out here, made friends with Sheena, and eventually now is a star of a show, has a really great, cute husband, has a baby. To some miserable people, she has too much.
Too much. Yeah.
Too much. And she got thin after the baby. And she's, you know, getting cuter. And they are just like I'm gonna see if I can break this.
They want to dim her light.
I'm gonna see if I can break.
See her becoming more like the first season. She was a little more reserved.
Yeah,
she wasn't really a breakout for me the first season. And the second season, I'm like, oh, she's good at this. It's like she's a little bit like a Sheena, where she's like sort of she's charming and she sort of brings things up like in sort of a sleuth kind of way.
Yeah,
where she's not like, this is what you are. She's like, I heard a thing, and like
So I think, but you know, my advice to her and to anybody in this situation is obviously delete and block. But like, if you don't see it, if you can avoid yourself from seeing it, and by posting that too, that really got this person happy. Yeah. Whoever this person is, could be a call coming from inside the house.
Probably a frenemy.
Not meaning her husband.
Probably someone she went to high school with. They're jealous.
It could be, it could be a frenemy. It could be even closer than that. Sometimes I think with all this stuff, I'm always wondering, is it like, and with this is like pretty dark, but like with the writing on these pages and stuff, I'm like, who's to say that this isn't the producers that are throwing it out there, then doing anonymously a screen grab, sending it to another cast member. I saw so-and-so's husband without a ring. Yeah. And that's where it came from. And it really never came from a real person saying they saw it.
I never thought of that, the producers. I mean, it's genius.
Right. And then they're like, I don't know. I got the weirdest DM. What did you get? I guess on the, Vanderpump Reddit page, somebody saw so-and-so like at a bar without his ring. And then they like chalk that, or the producer goes, bring that up. Like, I don't know. And then someone at home is like, what a bitch. She brought it up. We are watching a show, just like Janet said, for entertainment purposes.
And you want them to do the thing that you wouldn't do. Like you
want to confront. You would just be like, they're weird. We don't need to invite them to the party. Right. No, these people need to continue to see each other and fuck with each other.
And we want our reality stars looking at their DMs and posting them. That's what we want from them. Because we wouldn't do it. It's like if she were my friend, I'd be like, don't read it.
Yeah.
But I want her to do that. I want her to like be
Right.
interesting. It's like it's that like vicarious.
But as a friend, I'd be like, if it's getting you to a place where you aren't at the level of the Kardashian with the blinders on yet, as Meghan Markle will say, yet. I'm not there yet. Yeah. If you're not there yet, it's best that you just don't search it or look for it.
Yeah, don't
or
look at it. I don't look at my
or
DMs.
have someone, if you have an assistant, have them like go out and, just for your own like mental, because then if you don't see it, you won't address it, and they want you to address it so badly.
Yeah. They want to know they like dinged you a little bit.
Yeah. So, okay, moving on. Okay, after last night's show was the Next Gen, which has several Housewives kids in it.
Oh, I haven't seen this.
So
Is it
they
good?
have, I watched a little bit of it. I mean, let's give it a chance. I mean, I think this part's juicy. Okay. So Ariana Berman, who is Kim Zolciak and her now ex-husband, who adopted she and Brielle. So that's why they have the last name Berman. But of course, Kim Zolciak and her husband had a very bad breakup. We've seen way too many cop cams from Atlanta of like them fighting over like he took my purses and she needs to stop gambling and whatever it is. So this girl, Ariana, is the younger daughter, and she is in this show in New York with her boyfriend whose parents are very wealthy. The parents own some fast food chain I've never heard of, but it's successful. Chicken, I don't know. Anyway, he seems like a good boyfriend. And they're like looking for apartments. Anyway, in the first episode, she reveals that she's been on TV since she was 5. Obviously, she didn't get paid for that.
No.
Housewives only get paid themselves. Everybody else that's in the photo, including the dog, do not get paid unless you seek out a deal for them after they're 18.
Okay, but not even like the husbands?
No.
No. I thought the more involved husbands would get paid.
I mean, once you're a hit, I think you can negotiate anything.
Right.
But certainly in the beginning, your kids aren't getting money.
Right.
And, I remember I remember the Kardashians, the 2 little girls were on, and I don't think they had anything. And from my memory, Chris carved out something for them.
Oh, smart. Well, she's smart.
Yeah. And then eventually, they got all their things and they have all their monies and they all have their businesses.
Right.
But with her, she didn't get any of that. And then come 14, she started to do her own Instagrams and stuff. And then she got brand deals.
Right.
And she said, I made a lot of money for 5 years. I know what I was getting. I was doing reels and everything for 3 a week. And there is not one dime that she got. The money is all gone.
Where did it go?
To wigs.
Oh, her parents spent it?
Yes.
Croy? What? Kim and Croy.
Or Kim or whatever. And it's so...
Right, there's no Coogan account
This is the
for reality
juiciest.
stars.
There's no Coogan account.
Wow.
And there's none for... I've talked a lot about the Instagram situation. And now there's a few states. But even that is going to be extremely hard, because even when there was a Coogan account available, when... I've talked about this with my own family, with my siblings, my sister doing commercials and stuff. If she did not have a separate account,
right?
I mean, my parents paid for undergraduate for her and for me, but I didn't make any commercials.
Right.
But they're dead now. There's no way to figure it out. My sister doesn't care. But I'm saying, when you have like a bunch of kids and the checks are coming in, who is monitoring that?
Right. Nobody.
You have to just hope that the parent takes just the 15% and puts the rest in an account.
Right.
And they didn't.
And I don't mind them getting the 15% because the parents have to drive them everywhere. The parents have to.
In some cases, that isn't enough. Truly, it isn't. But that is the law.
Yeah.
And so she, thank God, is on this show.
Oh my God.
And still making money. So the mom, Kim, still asks her for money because she needs it. And so Ariana is like, I have to help my mom because she has 4 minor kids still.
Right.
And they lost the house and all this other stuff. But then the boyfriend's like, yeah, but we saw her drinking a $200 bottle of wine by herself on her stories. And you just zelled her who knows how much.
Right.
And I just really appreciate that she's being honest, telling the story.
That's why we love these people. We want
Yeah.
that. But also that's why we love Kim. We
But
want her
also,
on
like,
there
this
drinking
is what
that.
I've been saying. Like, there's going to be people that are going to be like, what happened? I mean, she was on TV as a 5-year-old with Candy's daughter.
Right.
And now they're both on this show, which is pretty genius. Then there's other people that we don't know.
Does Candy's daughter have money? She must have.
Candy takes care of her. And she
savvy.
graduated from college and she's like, I have to make it on my own. My mom's giving me 1 year. Well, you're on a reality show on Bravo. Like, I mean, it's hardly like, you're working as the barista or whatever. Right. But anyway, that's interesting. Let's see.
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
then one of the
this
guys
show.
on it I mentioned, was there when the crypto guy got arrested for kidnapping another crypto guy.
Whoa. He's on what is
He
who
was
are
like
the kids on the
outside
show?
of the brownstone.
Oh my God.
The other dudes, I don't know where they found them.
So there's Candy's daughter.
There's Candy's daughter.
Kim's
There's
daughter.
Meredith Mark's son, Brooks.
Oh, I love him.
And all of a sudden, his sister like goes on a date with what I think is the crypto guy. So there's some like straight guys in it.
Okay.
Then there's the first transgender Bravo star. She's a model.
Okay.
So they go to her fashion show, and
I kind of want to
and then
see
Gia.
this.
From
Okay. I
Gia.
want to see this. I kind of want to see it.
It's kind of fun because it's in New York.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's them going to a fashion show. They're privileged kids.
Yeah.
They all have nails. They all have, $8 matchas. But, it's summer in New York with these kids. And it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah. I'd want to see. I always love when Brooks Marks is on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yeah. He's
like the ultimate hype man. He's like, if I could like wave a wand and have my son grow up to, it would be that. And he'd be like, Mom, you're so gorgeous. Like he's that guy.
I met him in person and he was a delight.
Yeah.
And very good looking.
Yes.
You may have heard of Nutrafol's hair growth supplements and wondered, do they actually work? It's a fair question. Many hair supplements overpromise and underdeliver, but Nutrafol is different. As the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, it's trusted by over 1.5 million people and is clinically tested to deliver real results in just 3 to 6 months. So I'm going to tell you, I have been using it for a couple years now, and it really brought back my bounce, the shine that a couple years ago, I don't know what happened, but it was just not popping the way it had been. So I'm telling you, it works. This summer, stop worrying about your hair and start making memories. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our Juicy Scoop listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Juicy Scoop. Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code Juicy Scoop. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Juicy Scoop. One of the best parts about having a partner is sharing everything with them, including your fantasies. Whether you're looking to set the mood or try something new or just share a little excitement, Dipsy's spicy audio stories are the best way for you and your partner to explore something new. I mean, that's some good audio. Dipsy is the female-founded app for spicy audiobooks and more, created by women for the female gaze. Their app has over 1,000 spicy audiobooks, all crafted by a team of professional writers and top-tier narrators. Whether you're looking for a rugged cowboy or a Scottish sailor or a sexy rendition of Pride and Prejudice, or the god of the underworld, you'll find characters you'll love on Dipsy. Right now, Juicy Scoopers can get an extended 30-day free trial. Just go to dipsysstories.com/juicyscoop to start your free trial. That's DIPSEA stories.com/juicyscoop for 30 days of full access for free. Visit dipsysstories.com/juicyscoop. This episode of Juicy Scoop is brought to you by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. From vacation rentals to hotels across the U.S., Booking.com has the ideal summer stay for absolutely anyone, even those who might seem impossible to please. I'm talking maybe you're going with the grandparents. You need several rooms, maybe a place that has a kitchen that you guys can share. Maybe you have a grandchild or a young toddler with you that needs a little playpen, crib, whatever it is. Whether you're booking for yourself, your partner, your picky teens, or your sleep light, rise early mom, you can find exactly what you're booking for on booking.com. If our family can find their perfect stay on booking.com, anyone can. Find out exactly what you're booking for on booking.com, booking.yeah. Book today on the site or in the app. That's booking.com, booking.yeah. Okay, but first, when we're talking about, I want to go back to your story, and then we'll go to more hot topics. I want to make sure that we get everything in here. Okay, so tell me, this is juicy about you. This is a hot topic.
Yes.
Ali Wong and Bill Hader, who are a couple, are on board for Riki Lindhome's Dead Inside musical as executive producers. So explain this exciting thing that you're doing.
So what happened? I decided to write. I had a long fertility journey. It was crazy. It was a wild journey, and I decided to write a one-woman musical about it. And I went and did it in Edinburgh for the Fringe Festival. Have you ever done Fringe?
No.
Okay, so I did Fringe.
Never been in any festival, I told you.
Oh, right. But Fringe is different. Fringe is everyone can just go. You don't have to apply. You just have to go in. There's 5,000 shows. And I went and I did it. And Bill's assistant had seen the show. She just went there for fun to the festival. And she told him, she's like, that's the best show I saw at the festival. And then I did it in Los Angeles, and Bill and Ali came.
Did you not know them before?
I knew them a little. I knew Ali from stand-up.
Didn't Bill and Fred know each other from SNL?
Yes. So Bill texted Fred and said,
he knew that you guys were husband and wife.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so he texted Fred, and Fred's like, oh, she's doing the show Friday or whatever. And so they came, and then, a few months later, Ali just texted me like, hey, would it help if we came on as producer? I was like, yes, it would help. Yes. Great. Amazing. I was shocked. They just offered, and so.
So now what happens?
So now I'm starting. I'm going to do regional theaters, and we hope to get it to New York. But I'm doing the Woolly Mammoth Theater in DC in July, and then I'm not sure what's after that. But I just want to tour so much right now because my son is 3, and I know when he's in school it's going to get so much harder. Yeah. So I would just want to be on the road touring as much as possible.
But do you bring him with you?
Oh yeah.
And the nanny, or what do you do? Oh, okay.
Natasha and I open for Natasha Leggero on the road sometimes, and we bring our kids and a nanny.
Oh, that's
so
great.
We travel as a little pack, and yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
Your story is juicy.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little story?
Yeah.
So you were a single woman.
Uh-huh.
And how old were you when you were like, I want to make sure I have a child?
I was 34, and I got my eggs frozen at 34. So I had
so you did your insurance policy.
And I did it 3 times. I did my insurance policy, had that all ready to go.
Okay.
And then when I was 38, I met someone, and we tried to have a baby for 2 years.
Just regular.
Yeah, well, regular plus IVF and plus.
So first you tried to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So
and then you're like, I have these eggs.
Yes. And we just had 2 years of this is juicy but not fun. It's just of losses, and it was just a really hard.
But you didn't think we should get married first. You're just let's.
I never wanted to get married.
Oh.
I just didn't. No, that's why I had to hint that I wanted to, because I didn't. Everyone I dated before that, I just didn't want to get married. It just wasn't for me.
Okay.
Because I just don't like weddings. I just that's actually what I said to Fred. I was like, I'll get married, but I don't want a wedding.
So you didn't have a wedding?
No, we just went to the courthouse. Yeah, I didn't
love going. Do you like going to weddings?
Not really.
Why?
It's there's. I like
love
it more
them
now.
So much.
When I was younger, it just felt like it was that was where the woman's potential went to die. Okay. A lot of the time, it felt sad to me. I was like, oh, she's giving up at this point. I was just always felt
yeah.
And it's not turned out to be the case, but it just felt like that when I was younger. I just always felt oh, why are you? Because I just feel like they're going to give up their dreams for this guy.
Right. And which a lot of people do,
Yeah.
And for me, I love getting ready at 2 p.m.
That is nice.
I love going and having that first glass of champagne at the golden hour.
That is nice.
I like sitting and reading the little thing of who's in the wedding. Oh, it's the niece. It's the that.
You have a better attitude.
Then past apps.
Right. You have a better attitude. But I should get more on that page.
Dancing.
Yeah. I should. I think it was just when I was younger, I was very resistant. I just thought that marriage would kill any dream.
No,
that
but
I had.
I think it's interesting that I think that's valid. Like, I think that's totally valid of just like, that's not my dream,
Yeah.
you know? And
I saw it happen to a lot of people. But yeah, so we didn't get married, but we were trying to have a baby. And then he changed his mind. And it was,
changed his mind about wanting a child.
yeah. And it was.
And you had already had a couple miscarriages?
Yep. And we had just made embryos to implant. And that was.
Did you have any left over when he said, I'm not
Yes.
interested anymore?
Yes. And that
How
was
many did you have left over?
just one.
And then what did you do?
Nothing. It was gone. It was over. You know,
You didn't try to like have him sign the rights over.
you know,
So if you wanted
he said
to,
that he would, and then it just felt like it was just so fraught. I was like, that mean he would be in my life, and that would mean, you know what I mean?
Right. I
Yeah.
think that's wise
So
that you didn't.
he was nice about it. He said that he fully
would sign over
yes,
his rights.
yes, he fully said that. But then,
And did it come out of nowhere, or was it like we both know we shouldn't be
to
doing
me,
this?
it came out of nowhere.
Okay.
But look at the time. But looking back, I'm like, no, I just sort of had like optimistic blinders on, and I was like, I was totally blindsided, and it was February 2020, so it's like.
Great time.
Yeah, not a time. It was like end of February 2020. So it was like I went into COVID.
Before COVID, yeah.
I moved into I was living in my office in COVID, like, oh no, like fully starting over. And I was like, okay, well, I'm having a baby on my own. Like I didn't come like this far in life to like let this guy ruin my, I wanted to be a mom. And I was like, you know, and so I implanted the embryos that I had made at 34 and they didn't work.
Which were his?
No, those were I had embryos made when I was 30. So I had donor sperm.
You had some donor sperm.
Yes.
And those didn't take.
Those didn't take. Because I didn't know I had endometriosis.
Oh.
I had something called silent endometriosis, which I didn't find out till years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like
So
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. They didn't catch. Yeah. I didn't catch a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so how many did you try? How many cycles of the IVF during 2020?
Total, I think I did like 5 cycles of IVF
God.
in my life. Yeah. But then in 2020, I just tried to implant them and it didn't work.
Okay.
And then I kind of was pretty much out of like eggs for IVF purposes. Like I could have still gotten pregnant naturally, but like you need to have like a reserve to make it worth the surgery. And so, so I stopped and I tried to adopt for like 2 years. And that was really hard.
Tell me about that.
Well, like foreign adoption was like, it wasn't closed, but everything was like a little on pause because of COVID. Yeah, it was just all like, everything was kind of on pause.
Was there a certain part of the world you were looking to adopt from?
No, I was just like open to anything. And then I called my friends who'd adopted.
And with that, you have to like pay for an agency to help you?
You have to have an agency and a social worker. You take parenting classes. I was doing all of this, like, you know, I had nothing else to do. So I was just doing all of it. And I had to you have to make a pamphlet to like sell yourself as a parent. But most people get these photo shoots.
So you did like a deck, like you're pitching a show?
Totally. It's like it's a physical, it's so embarrassing. It's just like boring things about you that you're like, I like flowers. Like mine literally says, I love wallpaper. I'm not joking. And it's like me in front of a wall. But that's what everyone's looks like. They're so embarrassing. But I didn't have, it was, you know, March 2020. And so I couldn't get a photo shoot. So I had to like Photoshop like glasses of wine out of my hand or whatever. Cause I just, you know what I mean? I didn't have any like of these wholesome photos. I just had to like I had to like Photoshop myself into wholesome situations.
And did you say like, I mean, I would have played, this is how I would have sold you, the music stuff.
Well, so
that you could like teach your child music.
But here's the problem.
So your music is dirty?
It's really dirty. So I had so many things going against me. I was, you know, older for adoption, single woman.
How old were you that time?
I was 41 when I was 40 or 41 when I tried
And is
to
it like
adopt.
everything over 40 is kind of like not great?
I think I don't think there's like a hard and fast rule, but I think it's most people when they're like, who am I going to give my baby to? They're not like, is there someone 56 here? Like, no, they're like, they want like a young couple who lives on a farm or whatever. You know, like
like a Hallmark movie. Yeah.
Hallmark movie. Yeah. And those people exist. And I was just not that. And if you Google me, it's like, I have really dirty songs. And I have a song about Christian girls who stay virgins by having anal. I have like, it's just like, I'm just not a great Google. I've been in like a lot of nude scenes in movies. It's just not great. And it had not occurred to me.
And that was also hard for the foreign aspect or just for an American baby?
So I didn't try foreign adoption because it was, everything was just up in the air.
So this was from America.
So I did domestic, which was open. And so people could.
So did it ever get close at all?
I got close. I had one where I got a match and I went to get the baby, and then there was all these sort of problems that arose. It just was like all these weird situations, and
Like a Lifetime movie?
it was like a Lifetime movie. It was like they couldn't locate the dad, and there was just
And
all
they needed
these.
the dad to sign off.
Yes.
And you just had a feeling like,
Yeah.
because I mean, I do have a friend who adopted, and congrats, she adopted. She had trouble, having getting pregnant and all that. And I don't want to share too much because I don't want to like have people figure out who I'm talking about. But it was basically then the mom, her parents were like, wait, we want our grandchild back.
Right.
And it became this whole legal thing. And in the end, my friend prevailed, and then they did the visits. But then like after like 3, the visits just stopped.
Right.
Like that woman, that girl, it's really, I can imagine why it would be hard or whatever. And, now the girl's in college and doing great and they look alike. I mean, it was the greatest mother-daughter situation, but it was her whole first year of her life was like, when could I lose this child? And I'm like, I just think that must be so difficult. I have the utmost respect for the foster parents that do that, knowing that they're just there temporarily.
I could never do it. It's so, you have to be have such a strong heart. And I had sort of been through so much fertility trauma at that point that I didn't have like all these like psychological reserves to like keep having failed adoptions. And so it was just, I'm like in awe of people who can like carry a baby to term and give it up for adoption. Like that's so selfless. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to adopt. It was just like not working out.
Right. Okay.
And
so then what happened?
So I made a baby in a lab and got a surrogate because nothing about me worked.
So
I found
you
out
had
little
no
by
more
little.
eggs.
I had no more eggs. My endometrial lining didn't work. Like
okay, so you couldn't carry.
Yeah.
And so how did you choose the egg and the sperm then?
I mean, I might as well have closed my eyes and point. Like I saw when Lala did it, and I was like, oh, she made it like a thing. That was smart. She got opinions and sort of made it fun. For me, it was just like I was alone in COVID, like living in my office. Like I was just like, well, I don't know. I was like, I had no method. I just picked.
So in choosing the egg, did you choose someone that like looked like you or had similar interests?
Because they tell you to get someone who looks like you. People think it's vanity, but it's more about like the tribal thing. You like for the baby, it's for the kid, so that they look like their clan or whatever.
Okay.
And then that egg donor changed her mind, and so then I was like, okay, who has the healthy baby? Who do I pick? Like tell.
Yeah.
And then I was like, who's?
So did you look at like SAT scores and stuff?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it is just, this was like, I started my fertility journey at 34. This was like 7 years in. And I just had seen like, there's just no rhyme or reason.
Was there anyone in your life that was like, you know what, Riki, maybe this really isn't the plan?
Yes. Yeah. There were people like that, but they would say it kind of lightly, but they saw that I wasn't entertaining it. And it was.
How would they say it?
They'd be like, sometimes the universe gives us signs and like, do you ever wonder? I'm like, no. And they're like, okay.
How did your parents feel about all this?
They were just excited the whole time. They were like excited and proud of me. And it was actually my mom's idea to get the surrogate. Because I didn't know that my endometrial lining didn't work when I'd gotten the donor stuff because I was going to carry. And then that didn't work. And I was starting to like lose faith. And my mom's like, let's like.
Yeah, this exists.
Do you want a family or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was basically like, you're privileged enough to be able to have this. Like
to afford it. Yeah.
She was like, like walk through the doors that are open to you. Like you've tried it for a really long time. This has been really hard. Like, and I was like, it's so expensive. And my mom literally goes, well, not for what you're getting. And I was like,
growing up, did you always, you said you didn't really want to be married, but did you always want to be a mom?
Always. Did
Me
you
too.
always want, you did?
Yes.
Yeah. You just know. You're like,
I just remember being like 27 and I'd watch like Jerry Springer at night, like after like a growling show. I just like watch that like on the show. And I remember thinking, because I didn't have a boyfriend at the time or whatever. And I was just like, well, I know I'll be a mom even if I have to do it alone. And I'm just like by myself watching Jerry Springer at night after I put the kid to sleep. Like I just knew I had to be a mom.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think when then you will do your best or whatever.
And I started getting excited about being a single mom. And I would like when I was shooting in Romania, I would do these little like side trips. And I remember I like went to Greece because it's 45 minutes away. And I was like, and I was just sitting there in Greece, just like looking at the ocean, being like, I'm going to bring my son here. And I was like, I was just like planting envisioning it.
Yeah.
And I was really
not
excited.
scared.
Not scared.
Excited.
Yeah.
And so, and then how did you pick the sperm?
Same, like health. It's just like the health match.
You didn't like look up like he's into science or he's a musician
They
or
say that, but it doesn't matter. Like, it's,
right.
You know what I mean? Like someone could have one talent and then not. It just for me at that point, I was just like, let's just try to make the healthiest baby possible. Like what's the genetic match like?
So when you chose the man, did you choose a man that kind of looked like he could be your brother, so that the child does?
Yeah,
like it's so fair.
Yes,
fair skinned and blue eyed.
Yeah,
or you have green eyes.
Like bluish green.
Yeah, like light eyes. Yeah,
it was really. I wish I could say I like put more thought into it.
I think. Hey, it worked out.
At that point, I was just like, I'd seen all of my friends had babies different ways, and also you just don't have control.
And then with the third decision,
yeah,
who did you get to carry the baby, and how did you decide on that?
That was amazing and easy. That was amazing. Like, well, because the surrogates pick you, because there's more people who want surrogates than there are surrogates. So they, like, you do pick them as well, but they have to pick you. Like, they're kind of the ones in control, and they have all their do's and don'ts. And
what's like a do and don't?
Some of them will do like a selective reduction if there's like a problem with
and they have to be sure that their health takes precedent.
Yeah, yes. there's certain there's people who will only implant one embryo. There's people, everyone's got their list of things that they want. But by the time I met my surrogate, it happened so fast. She was the first person I met, and we just like were laughing on the Zoom, and I was like, this is like, we're friends now. I'm like, this woman has to be in my life. I love this woman. And then she called the next day and she's like, yeah, let's go.
And had she done it before?
Yes. She had 3 babies already, and she was friends with everyone that
3 surrogates, 3
or one of her own, and then 2 from a surrogate.
Oh, okay.
And then I was her third.
And how did she decide, I love being pregnant and this is what I can do while being with my own child? And
well, she's a therapist, and she'd been talking to a lot of people with these problems, and she's like, I don't have that problem, and that's a gift I can give. And so she still works as a therapist, and she is also a surrogate, and she had another baby after my son. So
she likes being pregnant. It's easy for her.
Yep. Her body just does it. The way my body was like, pass. Hers is like, yep, great. She got pregnant on the first implant. It was like, couldn't have been. She was pregnant the whole time I was in Romania shooting Wednesday. So I was just over there and just like, which was great for me because I couldn't, I had to like let go. I couldn't micromanage. I couldn't be like, well, what does this mean? And what I had to sort of go, okay, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. It's like the least control I've ever had in my life. And I was just getting okay with that. Like, nobody knows why one baby makes it and one doesn't. Nobody knows anything.
Yeah.
And so I just had to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to, hope for the best. And then it worked.
So my sister went through all of that with her son, and then was still and got successful finally. And then was trying to have another, and, like went through it all too. Had so she had no more frozens, da-da-da. And then she did get pregnant naturally.
We just don't know.
At like 38 or 39.
Yeah. We just don't know.
And when the doctor was like, I don't know. I never did understand your problem. Mm-hmm. And so much of it is like, you don't know. It's psychological. It's,
it's a miracle.
It is what it is. It's a miracle. Yeah.
We just don't know.
Were you,
I get annoyed when people like say that they know, when they're like, when people would give me unsolicited advice about what I was doing wrong.
Like, what would they say?
Well, like I would say,
What's
I had like a loss
advice?
or something. And they'd be like, here's what you have to do. And they would say it like before saying like, I'm so sorry that happened. They would jump right to advice. And I was like, no, I would want support. And then maybe like sharing and then advice, maybe in that order.
Yeah.
But a lot of people jumped right to advice. So I started just keeping things to myself because it made me feel like it was my fault.
Is there something, if someone is in the position of having someone in their life or in a conversation finding out, what should someone say as comfort?
I'm so sorry. And the end. Like, what else do you need? Like, if you lose a pregnancy, it's so devastating.
Yeah.
That's all you need. Like, it's like any big loss like that. It's just, that's it. And then maybe if it's appropriate, like share if you've had that experience. And then and only then if like asked, like have advice.
So you're doing this movie.
Mhm.
Or
Or a TV show.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And this is the one Fred is on.
Mhm.
And when do you tell him? Okay, so you go on the first date.
Mhm. Well, he already knew. So we were friends.
So he already knew.
He already knew I had a baby on the way. So we were friends.
So it's already cooking.
Yes. And the whole cast knew. We were so excited. They had to get me out by a certain date so I could go for the birth. And we were all just like, everyone was
Did the birth happen in California?
Yep.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, she lives in Long Beach.
Okay,
surrogate.
that's
and
nice.
so so I was like, just talking about it nonstop, and then so he knew it was happening.
And does he have any kids?
No.
And how did he ever feel about fatherhood?
He, I think, felt like, there's like the must-haves like us, and there's the people like open,
Yeah.
and then there's like the I don't want it. He was the open.
Okay.
So he was kind of neutral on it. Like if it happens, it happens kind of thing. And then, and then it happened. Then it was like 2 weeks before my son was born. I sent a text. I was like, you should be my boyfriend.
Okay, so now you're dating and you're like, I'm back in LA. You have your baby. And so when does he meet the baby?
Maybe like he went to England to film something right after. So it was maybe a month in to his life. But it was like, I wasn't like father shopping. Like I thought I'd be a single mom with a boyfriend. Like I think that's why I just cut to the chase. Cause I was like, I'm having a baby in 2 weeks, like yes or no kind of thing. And then I was just like a single mom with a boyfriend. And then once he came back home, it was so serious right away. You know what I mean?
And was he into like being with your son right away?
Into it. And it was so natural. And it was so like, we just wanted to be around each other all the time. So we just moved in together right away. And it just evolved. And then, however many months in, we were kind of like, are you dad? Like, dad. And then it's just been like that. So
that is awesome.
Shocking.
So
essentially,
shocking. Is he officially adopted him?
No, we didn't we should do that.
Maybe
I know. Oh my God, we totally have to do that. We haven't done that yet. Not really for any reason. It just.
So does your son just have your last name?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm not changing that.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I don't like. Like, I don't like how, men have to be taller and it has to be the man's last name. I think it should be a coin toss.
Yeah.
Like.
Whatever's better.
Yeah. And also it's my last. I went through this journey. Like, he came out at the last minute. He doesn't get to have the name.
Right. No, I think it's fine. When so when I got married, I'd been on like a show and stuff. So I'm like, it's staying Heather McDonald. And my husband is Tobias. And so I didn't add Tobias or whatever. But I was like, where the Tobias is, like, I don't care about that. I like it. Whatever. It's fine. And he didn't care. Like, you better change your name. And so it's always Heather McDonald. And it's always sometimes funny, like if he's on the road or something and someone's like, Mr. McDonald, we have your room ready. And he was like, always like, fine, I don't care,
Yeah.
But then when I was about to give birth to my son, I did go and change it and add the Tobias on my license and stuff, because I just was like, what if I'm ever like in the ER or something and someone tries to think he's not my kid?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I was like, because he was Tobias. Like,
no, that's
born
true.
Tobias.
I mean, that's smart. That's just smart. It's like, I don't know why I had such strong feelings.
No,
about
I
it.
think it's all amazing. So then you write all these funny songs about it, and
turned it into a musical.
I think that is so.
Isn't that crazy?
It's
I was
great.
like, I just feel like people don't really talk about infertility that much, and I was just like, I feel like I felt like called to write this show. It felt like I had to.
I mean, I just think it's great that, there is a way for all kinds of people that want to be parents can be parents.
Yeah.
And, it's just really, I mean, it's great. It's
and
wonderful.
most people haven't tried everything like I did. Like most people, I was like, I'm the only person I know who's tried every method. And so I was like, I guess I should talk about it. And people have lots of judgments about it. People don't love it. They don't like that I had a surrogate. They don't like that I have donor eggs. But I'm like, it's not their life. These are all people who had babies on their own. And they're like, well, you shouldn't have done that. I'm like, well, you weren't in my shoes. You didn't live my life. So yeah.
Right. Like, and so and it was interesting because we spoke earlier when Khloe Kardashian, her second baby was via surrogate. And she was really honest and said, like, it was just weird. I didn't feel the same as when I was carrying my daughter, True. And I was like, I loved her honesty about it. But at the same time, I'm like, for anybody, you know your first child more. You've had the first child around for 3 years. So
Yeah.
it's like you're not going to feel the bond
Yeah,
that
maybe
you
they're just
do
number
when your
2.
3-year-old comes in. Like,
Right.
yeah, this new one is super cute and you
Right.
love it and you're so excited. But then you see the 3-year-old come in and be like, eat out my water. And like, you are feeling like this closeness. And so I'm like, yes, you didn't carry your son, but also it's a boy and you didn't, and all of that. So it's great. All right, I just want to move on to a couple things. Speaking of love,
Ooh.
Luann de Lesseps, darling.
Gosh, I love her.
Somehow, this is from Bravo Snark side, but this photo went everywhere.
Love it.
Somehow the paparazzi found her just flashing a ring while about to get on a moped.
I mean,
and
perfect manicure.
putting on some lip gloss, and I don't know how they found her. And but I cannot wait to hear the scoop because she's on the Love Hotel.
Oh, she is. I haven't seen it. Is it good?
I think it's fun. I honestly, it's not getting like the talk about as much just because it's for women looking for multiple guys. So unlike The Bachelor in its heyday, you'd be like, oh my God, is it going to be, Jennifer or Kelly or whatever? Like I don't feel like, but I'm enjoying watching it, because it's like, I feel like, I know these ladies and everything. But I don't want to reveal too much, but I know that it could be one of many or one of two.
Okay. Good. Well, Luann deserves it. Man, after Tom.
Yeah.
What a disaster.
I can't wait to see who she's engaged to. Because
actually, every woman in that photo is like needs an upgrade. They need a new man.
Yeah.
They've all had
Well,
bad
speaking
luck.
of which, I don't know if you're watching it, but Earl, who's dating Shannon Bedore, is on TikTok.
Okay.
Earl the Pearl, which they call him. And looks like he got on the Ozempic. He's lost a few lbs.
Okay.
And, at first I was like, why are these guys going on these shows? Let me tell you. If you're an older guy and you're off your game, go on the Love Hotel, go on the Golden Bachelor, because if you don't find love, wow, will they be coming for you? The comments,
Really?
oh my God, they want him.
This guy?
Yes. Anybody wants.
Wow.
Listen, it's slim pickings after a certain age.
I know.
And, he comes off nice. And he's telling a little bit about himself, what he likes to do in Atlanta. And I'm like, and then he's like, yeah, this has been amazing. And someone wrote like, oh, you're going to have so many like women after you. He's like, I know. I'm filtering through them now. Like, I'm like, good for you.
Wow. I wonder if it applies to everyone. Like, what about the guys who were
I don't
sort of
think
like,
he ends up with Shannon's is what I think.
what about the guy who faked cancer? Like, do you think he gets flooded with offers?
Wait, which one faked cancer?
Is his name also Brooks? Is it?
Oh, Brooks from, oh my God, from Real House of OC.
Yeah. I wonder if he gets flooded with offers.
He got married to somebody else.
Wow. So he did. Yeah.
He took his teeth that he got from Vicky and left the OC and totally married like what appeared to be like a very attractive woman in like a nice big real wedding situation.
Wow. Okay. Then I guess it's just a positive thing for the men.
I
Apparently.
guess, you know what? I just feel like women will always believe whatever story it is. She was crazy. It wasn't that. I was stuck on this reality show that used me. And if she likes him enough, she's like, I don't need to hear anymore.
Yeah.
Like, let me just have what's in front of me.
Right.
And let me not
think too much about Vicky Gunvalson.
This guy seems nice enough. This is kind of funny. Okay.
What is it?
So this was from 2024 and they were doing a panel at South by Southwest. And Brooke Shields was on the panel with a few other women. Katie Couric, I think, was moderating, and Meghan Markle. And I guess Brooke Shields recently went on a podcast and shared the story, and then people pulled up the clip. And so Meghan Markle is telling her very famous story. In her defense, I'm sure she was asked of when she was 11, she saw a commercial about like cleaning the house, and she wrote a letter to Procter & Gamble or whoever it was. And they changed the commercial and she got to be on the news about it and everything, which I remember that coming out when she was, first dating Harry H. And I did think that was great.
Yeah.
I was like, that was great. She looks so cute. So she's telling the story. And again, she's probably told it 1,000 times, but she was like, and then, at 11, you can make a change. This is before social media. And I was just 11 and I just put pen to paper and changed the way the world looked at women.
Oh, no.
And that they're not the only ones cleaning. And I did this at 11. And just then Brooke Shields goes, hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, but at 11, I was playing a prostitute. But up bum.
And
I was like, that is funny. And it's in her interview, she's sort of dissing Meghan at this point in the current interview but a year ago, watching it, I was like, I'm not mad at Meghan.
No.
And I'm not mad at Brooke.
Right.
It was fucking funny.
Yes.
It was true.
Yeah.
And, when she was like, I just thought it was so pretentious. I'm like, it really isn't. It is her story. I mean, listen, I talk a lot about Meghan and in Imitator and she bugs, but that is a pretty fucking great story.
Yeah,
and
I would tell that all the time.
It's one of the many stories she's told that is 100% true.
Yes.
So I'm like,
I have no problem with Meghan Markle. I'm just like, oh, she's so pretty. Like, that's like kind of the beginning and middle and end of my thought. I don't know why. I just don't. She doesn't like register on me.
I have no problem with her either, but I do like talking about her. I'm not saying she needs to be banned. I'm not saying don't buy her raspberry jam. I'm saying I've predicted everything that she would do. Even when she was in England, when she was still the princess, I said she'll never go back to acting, but I could see her wanting to have a talk show, like an Oprah thing, which is exactly what she's doing. And, and I said, yeah, it makes more sense to do a little cooking show at a house down the street than driving 2 hours and being in a trailer at Universal for 14 hours a day so that you can say your line when you're playing a nurse. Why would she do that?
Right.
She's already famous. Yeah. She doesn't need the money. Like, of course, she'd rather do.
Yeah, you don't want to be in a courtroom.
She'd rather do a podcast with 6 episodes a year.
Yeah. Do you know how long it takes to film a courtroom scene?
Do you know how many episodes I do a year? And she's like,
she really does 6 a year?
Yes. It's like this season has now concluded of my 20 million or whatever she's getting.
I would do that too.
But I'm like, if someone wants to pay you, do it.
Take it.
Yeah.
Save the money. What do you think she should do next?
Well, I mean, selfishly, I don't know that she would ever do a reality show, but it'll probably happen, but not for 6 years.
I'd watch that.
100%. Could she really be real? Right now, what she's showing on the cooking show, if that is the real her, then she really is boring.
Yeah.
But now she just posted 4 years ago, she's about to give birth to her son. And she put the camera over there and she's dancing and she's got her big belly and you see Harry and he's dancing. And I'm like, I think maybe she can be fun.
Yeah. It feels like she's had so much criticism that she's so guarded.
I don't know, but if and also as people age, they change. Right now, the stuff she says is super cringe and annoying. Writing the kids an email every night, all these kind of things, and that even though she has business calls in the morning, she still reads her child. She acts like she's the only person that's ever been a working mother, and I'm like. There's been working mothers since the beginning of time, but certainly in the last 50 years, there's been a lot of working mothers. And I'm just like, why you feel we need to and also the other thing I hate is when people are like, and no one's talking about this. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are. We've all talked about being working mothers since the beginning days of everything.
Yes.
So I'm like, but it's her thing. And
I want her to enter her Gwyneth at the ski trial era.
Gwyneth's so great.
She was so in her I'm aspirational. You're she's I'm not apologizing. I'm aspirational. I lost half a day of skiing, and everyone's like, go. I want to see Meghan Markle in that era where she's like, what? I'm sorry. I look like this. I married a prince. I make $12 million an episode for my podcast. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like it or don't like it. I want to see her in that.
She'll
moment.
Get there.
Yeah, she will.
Hopefully, if that is her personality, maybe what we're seeing is her personality, which is just kind of not that funny. But I also feel like it's so many people and herself in her ear and of sometimes when I see people that suddenly enter social media now, but they're maybe even a little older than me. And
they're trying to do it.
Okay, Harry, and I like them. But Heather and Terry Dubrow doing little dances and stuff.
I haven't seen it.
And doing like silly things. And then the video will be like hashtag husband and wife comedy. And they could do that.
Sure.
And people in the comments are like, I love you guys. That's fine. But sometimes I'm just always, the TV show I want to see is the person that was hired that has to go, hey, you guys, so when does Terry get out of doing his last boob job? Okay, hi. Okay. I need you guys to, not a lot of makeup, Heather. Like you're going to look like you just, and then I need you guys to just dance to this song, do this little weird trend, or worse, we're going to do it all in one day.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to spill it out. But it's going to look like you guys are just this silly, authentic couple.
Right.
And again, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But there's just something knowing that there's a girl out there or gay guy.
Yeah.
Who has to do this.
I wish I had one of those people, honestly. I'm like, I want someone, like, I don't want to think of any of this stuff. I want someone to be like, Riki, now we're doing the thing where you lip sync to this song. I'd be like, okay.
I always imagine that too.
Yeah, I would love that.
I'm just, like where it's like, okay, hey Heather, I need you to, but that's not my I don't want to be like, hello, we're the one did it. But I mean, I get
lip
why
syncing to some trending audio.
But I get why that is a hit, and I get it, but it's not creative. So it's like I don't want to just do trends and dances and things like that. But I get why other people can pop doing that.
Right.
And that is that person's job to be
imagine?
hired by the rich 55-year-old lady that wants to break out to be an influencer. And
Someone's
I'm like, go for it.
Glenn Close, you have to do the Dochi dance or something. Like, oh my God.
You
like,
put it out in the universe.
Yeah. Please, Glenn Close, do the Dochi
No,
dance.
Glenn Close is like third billing under Kim Kardashian in the new law firm movie.
Is she really?
TV show. Yeah. It's like
Wow.
Kim Kardashian, Naomi Watts.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
And like Niecy Nash.
I mean,
and then Glenn Close.
wow.
I don't even know, but it definitely Kim's first.
Wow. Go
But
Kim.
it's Hulu and it's what's his name? Ryan Murphy.
Okay, that's amazing.
And it's again all good. Good for her.
Good for her.
Good for her. Like, she's great. And
she did really crush it on SNL. That must have been a game changer for her because she really crushed that monologue, Kim Kardashian. Like,
well, it was
that
so
must have
funny
been-
because when, that would always be the thing when we did Chelsea lately. You cannot joke about the sex tape. If there's a Kardashian topic, we'd have a producer go to whoever was on the panel that was not a writer. So like a Natasha or whoever. And, once they were on regularly, they knew that was part of the rule. But then someone would be like, oh, like whatever it is, Rob Kardashian got Dancing with the Stars. And then someone would be like, blah, 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 sex tape.
Right.
And then they'd be like, you can't talk
Was it
about
because
this.
it was hacky or they didn't want, or
that
because
was
it was
because they were on E and that
Right.
was the one, like honestly, the one rule. Otherwise, they were really cool
Yeah.
about all the stuff we did and the jokes. But I felt like I was like an unsigned ambassador between like the Kardashians and like, so when the topic would come, I'd be like, try to push jokes and things that I knew like wouldn't offend them,
Right.
but they could chuckle at,
Right.
like in a flattering way.
Mhm.
And but then, so yes, that was so I thought it was great. But I also thought, isn't it interesting then like she finally like woke up one day and was like, all right, I will fucking joke about it on
Yeah.
SNL. And that she
Smart.
was smart enough to save it for that.
Mhm.
And then also realized by her doing it and ripping the Band-Aid off,
It's not funny.
then nobody else can make fun of
Yeah,
it.
it's not funny anymore. There's no
joke.
No, it's gone.
She's like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even like wink, wink. Yeah, my mom sold it behind my back. Like,
Right.
who cares? Just like leaning into the dumb rumors because
They do seem to handle criticism. I mean, maybe it's just a front, but they seem to handle it very well. They seem to be like, thank you for the engagement. Thank you for the content,
only a few times will like Chloe get upset and something. But like the other girls, they have it down.
Yeah.
They
They're like, cool.
they have those blinders on.
Yeah.
Anyway, one last thing. I'm watching the Pee Wee Herman documentary with Paul Rubens, rest in peace. And it was very juicy. And the juiciest part about it, you know what I will say, it wasn't totally juicy. If you didn't watch the show, you might get a little bored in the middle about they got a little too into like every episode and who played what. But we talked about it yesterday on the phone, you and I, about Phil Hartman. And Phil Hartman and he were at the Groundlings at the same time and kind of came up with the idea of this like mocking like a kid's show from like the 50s or the 60s.
Oh, Phil was part of the idea?
Yeah, that was the problem.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
he played this like old fisherman that would like come out. And then they did like a bunch of things together. And I think there might have been the actual TV show going on. And then Phil got SNL. And then Pee-wee, it was like, oh, and then Phil got SNL and that was great for him and da-da. So then they cut to an interview with Phil Hartman and Howard Stern. And Howard's like, but you guys aren't close anymore. And he's like, no, we're not. And he's like, well, why is that? Is it because you helped create Pee-wee's Playhouse and you didn't have credit or back, at whatever?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah.
Whoa. Wow.
And I just thought that as someone that like saw that happen with people that would get on SNL, they'd come up with like a bit and one would get the show.
They'd do it on the show.
We had a juicy story that happened where two girls did this little funny bit and one of them got on the show and, the other one was like, I want credit, or could I come out to New York and write and give me something? And we kind of came this ugly thing. And I think in the end, I don't know in the end. I've heard everything from $500 or a larger settlement from like SNL, but the girl that was left at the Groundlings like really kind of went for it because it became a bit.
Oh, God.
A bit that was on all the time that guest stars would ask to do.
Oh, no.
And it's one of those things that you don't think about it when you're writing some little dumb sketch at the Groundlings for 99 people.
Yeah.
And I wonder now if anybody like that or, thinks about these things and even starting a podcast with a friend, it's like, who owns the name?
Who owns what? Yeah.
What happens if one of you wants out? Do you dissolve the name? Does someone automatically get it? These are all things that I would say you should work out, whether you're being real estate partners or interior design apartment, when you are going to have an Instagram together. Like, you better just write it out, have an attorney look at it, both agree to it.
And it has to
like
be
a
someone
prenuptial
who's
agreement before you get married into a business. You should have a little something because
it's got to be a partner, and your partner has to be someone who's like has so much faith in their own talent that they're like, yeah, you can have that. I'll make something else. Like, you have to have someone so secure, which I don't know where you find those people, but someone so
right. And I think in the past, so then the same thing happened with another girl and the same actress. Another very popular bit that got put on all the time. And she was cool with it because she wanted to stay in the good graces of the up and coming SNL people and possible producers and hoping like I could still be in it. And this girl, I guess, just was like, no, and she'd have every right to be a little more savvy. But after that, it is my knowledge that when they took people from these groups, that then they'd be like, of these characters, did anybody have a part in it or these sketches or anything? Because we need to either have them sign a release, give them X amount of dollars because we want to use it. And I think what happened was, she got on the show and then, you're pitching ideas, you do it and everyone's dying laughing. And she's probably like thinking, well, that was just a dumb little thing I did in Sunday's show. It wasn't even in the main show.
Right.
And so who cares?
Yeah.
And then
someone cares.
And now someone's on SNL and someone is not.
Right. It's like if that person had like a tremendous amount of success on their own, they wouldn't care.
Right.
They'd be like, oh, isn't that funny? They're like starring in a movie. They're like, they made a character on SNL. But yeah, if they're not doing anything.
And then I guess when he had his issue, Pee-wee Herman, where he got caught just jerking off in a dirty movie theater, like while visiting his parents or whatever. And they were just out to get him. And it was, such an amazing headline to have Pee-wee Herman be caught for this thing, which was so ridiculous. I guess he did like reach out to him.
Okay.
And so I don't know if they ever spoke before then
Right.
Phil Hartman's wife killed him.
Right. That story is wild. That story is
The
so
Bupa de
sad.
Beppo, it's finally gone in Encino, I guess.
That's where?
It closed.
Oh.
It was the Bupa de Beppo in Encino. She got drunk off Cosmos.
Right.
And then went back to her house in Encino, like she could walk up the street.
Oh my God.
And they were having all those issues. And then
That is crazy.
that story is.
That story is like haunting. It's so awful. But yeah, so yeah, don't fuck over your comedy partners.
Oh, yeah, or just
like
just
try to have try to find people who are secure and have a million ideas. I've never had that. I've never had problems. Like I always have, the people in my community, like Guy Branum, like he wrote me a handful of jokes for my solo show. He just did. Like he's not like I'm a writer on it. He just I'd already written the whole thing.
Right.
And he sent me.
Well, I think there's that kind of things where it's just like you're collaborative and you're like, oh, I don't care. I'd love to see it. Like I'm just, again, when you have some other things. But I think at that stage, it was like this girl maybe knew, like, listen, when you become litigious, you have a right to, most likely you have a right to.
Right.
But then in this business, the risk is, well, you'll never work again.
Yeah, you're not
but
gonna
sometimes you're in a position where you're like, I've been so fucked over, I'm not going to work anyway. So fuck you.
Right.
Or you've blackballed me
And,
because
they
I
would have
spoke up
hired
the
me by
first
now.
time.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was that kind of a thing. And like I said, I don't know, but it certainly wasn't like a windfall.
Right. No.
It probably was just, hey, stay in the good graces. But of course, no one's going to now.
No.
So it's just such a weird
'Cause
thing.
comedians all kind of write on each other's stuff. They all give each other punchlines. They all, people help each other.
Yeah.
And if someone came back and was like, I want a piece of that, I'd feel really weird.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
But I would have, as the person, I could see if you're on the SNL, how all of a sudden now it's becoming a big thing. And you're like, I don't even know what to do. Like, do I reach out to my friend and be like, this is on? And because I can't promise you a writing staff job. I can't promise you to get on. But now they love it.
Right.
Like my bosses want it.
Right.
Like I'm not just doing it at the Playhouse.
Right.
So I totally can see how that could have happened. And then, but if I was making money,
Right.
I would have been like, here's this
Totally.
is 20 years ago. So like I would have been like, here's 5, 10.
Right. Right.
And can you sign off?
Right. And there's also a world where like you could just like bring them up on social media, be like, here's the original thing of it. Look,
But that didn't exist.
No,
and then you
right.
wouldn't want to do that because
Right.
they want it to look like SNL came up with it.
Right.
And they didn't.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I can't wait to tell you who it was. Anyway, you know what? I'm also going to tell you
I have
guys.
a guess.
I'm going to tell you guys on Patreon too. So I hope you're joining Patreon at heathermcdonald.net. That's where you join. But let's tell everybody where they can find you. I have your Instagram here.
Riki Lindhome on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. All my videos, all my funny songs. And then I'm doing Dead Inside in DC in July at the Woolly Mammoth the whole month.
That's great. We have lots of Juicy Scoopers in DC.
Oh, good. Yes, please come. It's
So-
8 shows a week, so I need to sell tickets.
Oh, yeah. And definitely go. Thank you.